welcome back to another edition of the WizzMMA prediction show. Today we're going to be breaking down UFC 330, Islam Makachev going up against Garry. And, it's a pretty chalk-heavy card, I'm going to be honest. Should be, pretty quick and easy to break down. No real controversial takes. We have a couple of closely lined fights. I'll probably highlight a little bit more than anything else. The squash matches, you guys are going to have to expect a pretty quick breakdown because it's, most of these favorites are favored for a reason, and I think chalk continues to roll on this card specifically. If you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and share, like, subscribe, and leave a comment on the video. Please be interactive throughout the stream. It makes doing the stream a lot easier, and also I like interacting with you guys, sharing opinions, answering your questions, and then that way this all is that much more valuable. First and foremost, repping the classic fight team, the Sun Studio, new edition. Come on. We have to support our girl Nat, fighting in one championship tonight. So let's go ahead without further ado and start by breaking down this first fight. Actually, first, shout out to the first person in the chat, Mr. Simple Skills Gaming. My guy, thank you. There we go. Now we're back. All right, first fight. We got Jeremiah Wells going up against Orolbai. Jeremiah Wells coming off of a win, going up against 3-0 in his last 3 fights. Orolbai, who ever since moving up to 170 has really shown a different set of skills and a different set of cardio. You look at Orolbai is going to be 11 years younger than Jeremiah Wells. And on top of all that, I think he's a much fresher fighter, the much more durable fighter, and more importantly, the fighter that's going to have a much better gas tank. I think Orolbai maybe takes his time here and gets a knockout in the second or third round when Jeremiah Wells starts to gas after the repeated takedown attempts. But hey, guys, just be careful. Jeremiah Wells is a decent grappler, and he's pretty strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gives Orolbai a little bit of trouble early on, but ultimately I think this is Orolbai all freaking day. So Orolbai by however he wants. I think it's going to be by knockout. Next up, we have a closely lined fight. We got Neil Magny going up against Brahimaj. Brahimaj is going to be the younger fighter here by 6 years, and he will be the much shorter fighter here by about 4 inches too, or 5 inches actually, and then giving up 8 inches of reach. God damn. So you look at Brahimaj, and he went on that 3-fight win streak in the UFC, much improved, and then in his last fight he went up against Punahele Soriano, and after, I would say 7.5 minutes, 7 minutes, dude kind of went off of a cliff cardio-wise and did not recover. I fear that if Magny is able to keep this fight upright for the first round and zap the cardio of Ramas, maybe take him into the clinch for a bit, where Magny tends to excel, I think he can cause a lot of troubles to Ramas' gas tank. And as this fight goes on, Magny becomes more and more of a favorite in my eyes. And we might see the infamous Magnyverse round 3 finish here. I do think that Ramas could find the finish early on in round 1. But here's the thing. He's going to have to go through some fire here. I know Neil Magny has been giving up takedowns to everybody, but at the same time, he does a good job at surviving. It's Ramas Brahim round 1 for me, or Neil Magny live bet. I think Neil Magny might be able to get this done in round 3 and really, capitalize on the cardio differential here. So for me, I think it's Neil Magny all the way. Next up, we got Lucas Fernando going against Rafael Tobias. Lucas Fernando making his debut. He's going to be the older fighter here by 6 years. And we'll also have a 7-inch reach advantage in this fight, which is pretty massive for the weight class. Especially given that this is really a striker versus grappler matchup. And yeah, we're going to mention that Fernando has really struggled in the past when it comes to facing grapplers, and he has shown the ability to get taken down quite a bit. Now, Rafael Tobias' takedowns, not all the best. He's only been in the UFC for one fight here. And the last fight, he fought Dr. Nerguze, and Dr. was able to survive the takedown threat. And if Dr. was able to survive on the mat against you, I'm sorry. It's just, your jiu-jitsu skills and all the submissions that you get on the regional scene kind of become more diminished in my eyes because Dr. Nerguze is a white belt. And, all props to him. He's starting to come into his own in the UFC. But against Lucas Fernando really knows how to utilize his long-range weapons in the LFA. He uses his teep kicks a lot, solid 1-2 on the pipe. And Tobias got hurt a couple of times, and Dr. almost got him out there. I think Lucas Fernando is going to get him out of here by knockout come tomorrow. So for me, I think Fernando is the rightful favorite in this spot. Up next, we got Tresean Gore going up against Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque, only 2 years older, but in terms of fight year, I think, Luque might be way up there. I just watched the weigh-in, the ceremonial weigh-ins, and it looked like Luque was a little bit taller than Tresean Gore. So I don't know if this topology height metrics are the same, but 6 foot versus 5'11", not too big of a deal. One thing to note here is Luque still, you have to monitor the brain bleed situation with him. And my good friend Narco Cop, I was watching his show earlier today, and you can see he mentioned that in his last fight, he mentioned his corner that he could not take shots anymore and he wanted to give up before Gregory Rodriguez talked him out of it. And instead of waving the flag, they let him go out there and continue fighting. I think that's a big red flag. I also just think Tresean Gore is starting to come into his own, super durable. I don't think he's going to be, affected by Luque's shots here, even though he is quite hittable himself. Solid front chokes from Tresean Gore. Once he snatches your neck, it's night from there. I know he's 6-4 and he's a much less experienced guy in this matchup, but I think Luque going to 185 is just not the weight class for him. I don't see him finding too much success in this fight. And I think Tresean Gore ultimately finds the finish at some point, whether it's in round 1, round 2, or round 3. No real prediction when it comes to how early, but I think this likely will be a round 1 finish for Tresean Gore. After, maybe absorbing a couple shots and dishing them back out to Vicente Luque. I think Luque is not going to be able to withstand the damage. And when he sees that Tresean Gore is going to be much larger than him on fight day after rehydration, I don't think Luque is going to gain any size. If he does, it's really going to go most of it to his belly. Because you saw, if you guys watch ceremonial weigh-ins, which is 15 minutes ago, you'll see this guy has a bit of a gut on him. I don't know if it's the HDH or whatever it is. I'm not going to accuse anyone of anything. But, I think this is Tresean Gore money line all freaking day. Next up, we got Dante Johnson going up against Eric McConico. And I will first note that the height advantage here for McConico, 6 foot going up against 5'8". That's one thing to note. And then the 3-inch reach advantage will be enjoyed by Eric McConico. But the thing is, you also not enjoy the fact that he has a much weaker chin than Dante Johnson. And yeah, people are going to shit on Dante Johnson for his last performance against Bridge, which he still won. It was a split decision. It's just when this guy gets flattened out on his back, he seems to have no answer, and he's still quite green for mixed martial arts. But I think overall, if he lands on McConico, it's fight over shortly after. McConico has been hurt quite a few times in his career, and if we take a look at the exact amount of finishes, especially by knockout in his career, he has 4 losses by knockout, which is all 4 losses in his career. Not the best look when you're going up against a much more athletic and much faster guy here, Dante Johnson. And Dante Johnson moving to Extreme Couture in good rounds with Chris Curtis, with Sean Strickland. They had some good things to say about him. I have to think that this is Johnson's fight to lose. He came in super energetic, and he had a lot of aggressive, nervous energy here going into the ceremonial weigh-ins, which I don't really like to see, but he could just, be excited and want to erase the bad taste out of his mouth from the last one, even though he won. So for me, it's Johnson by knockout. If McConico had a better chin, I would be taking a dog shot there, I'll be honest. Next up, I don't really have too much of a breakdown of this fight. It just got announced a couple days ago and didn't really have the chance to tape. Charles Johnson going up against Eduardo Chapolene. Chapolene, I should say former LFA champion. I don't think he's gonna. He probably relinquished the belt to get to this opportunity. This is gonna be catchweight at 130 after Jose Ochoa dropped out. And you know what? I just personally think that Charles Johnson here, chin still not convincing. I think Chapolene is the much hungrier fighter. Yes, on short notice, but I think he's had a little bit of a delay in terms of his debut, and he probably had some sort of notice of this fight beforehand because there were rumors of Jose Ochoa pulling out well before. But I will say that Chapolene does have power. He can land on Johnson, but I do think Johnson could find some success here in the wrestling. So I don't know. I wouldn't go anywhere near this fight with a 10-foot pole. This is borderline 1-800 gambler fight, but I do think it's violence and violence all the way. So if you're looking to take an angle, maybe either guy inside the distance and see where that takes you. I still have to tape it later today. Fight number 7, we have welterweights Chidi Njokuani going up against Joel Alvarez. Chidi is going to be the fighter is 4 years older in this matchup, matching each other in the height, while Chidi holds a 3-inch reach advantage here. Here's the thing in this one. Joel Alvarez, big favorite, but I struggle to see where he can capitalize on this fight if it doesn't hit the mat, and this guy's wrestling is not all that good. In the clinch, I think Chidi Njokuani is one of the best fighters in the UFC when it comes to clinch fighting. This will be maybe the first time Joel Alvarez is at a disadvantage in the clinch. And if he hangs out in there, I think Chidi's going to be able to land knees. He's going to be able to sweep Alvarez whenever he wants. He'll be able to land some nasty elbows. Alvarez will land his own, but the thing with Chidi is he knows how to minimize the damage when it comes to clinch fighting. He's a more natural Muay Thai specialist, and I think while at range, he's the fighter that's going to hold all the advantages here. Joel Alvarez, if he doesn't get this fight to the ground pretty quickly, I think it's going to be pretty tough on him. The more the fight is on the feet, the more he's going to get hit by those teep kicks from Chidi, who can fire him from both angles. He can switch stances and work on his boxing and Muay Thai knee game pretty effectively, as long as this stays apart. So I'm really close to taking the dog shot on Chidi Njokuani. I'm just not there quite yet. Maybe a live shot after round 1. We'll see. I'll have to see how round 1 goes. Shout out to my guy MMA Locker Room in the chat. Appreciate you, my brother. Fight number 8, we have Edson Barboza going up against Esteban Ribovics. And I'm just going to keep this one short. Edson Barboza should not be fighting anymore. You guys see his condition on the scales. Going up against the young killer who's hungry, and Ribovics coming off a loss. I think Ribovics is going to clean him up in round 1. Ribovics KO 1. We have another squash match for fight number 9. Mansour Abdul-Malik going up against Dustin Stoltzfus. And you guys, I have an issue with Mansour Abdul-Malik, and it's his fight IQ. This guy can go out there and be a Terminator and really get a lot of his opponents out early, but tends to play with his food. And that could be as a result of his gas tank. He might be scared of blowing his gas tank early if he's throwing with power, which could be the case. He's a super muscular dude, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's more energy management based than anything. Against a guy like Dustin Stoltzfus, you have to get him out of there in round 1. If he does not get him out of there in round 1, I would be pretty disappointed if I were him. Because Dustin Stoltzfus, yes, he's a vet. He's a grizzled vet. He can wrestle with some good fighters, and he has the ability to counter strike. But once you land clean on his chin, he doesn't really react all that well. You can kind of see in his face. I'm forgetting, I think it was the Ruziboyev fight. Once he got landed on hard, he started to be more reserved in the fight. And then specifically in the Bruno Ferreira fight, that was just back and forth war until Ferreira landed that spinning elbow. It's crazy. But yeah, Mansour KO. Excuse me, guys. Next up, we have Jalen Turner, one of the Cali boys, going up against Cali Fernandes. Jalen Turner is going to be the much taller fighter in this matchup. This one's pretty intriguing. The line continues to get closer and closer. Cali Fernandes, known for his leg kick finishes against George Hardwick. And this guy can switch stances, kick you on both legs, even if you switch. Doesn't really have hands, is a decent jiu-jitsu player. Now, my issue with not taking Jalen Turner here is Jalen Turner has his issues. He convinced me in that win against Edson Barboza that he may be back. But that's also the core for Edson Barboza, who is nearing his retirement. You should be finishing him that quickly. Now, let's see against someone who's a little bit more of a live body, like someone who will put up a little bit more of a fight, has a different style, is younger, same age as Jalen. How does he perform? Because if he is back, he should be able to piece up Cali Fernandes on the feet, because Fernandes' striking is not good. He just has the leg kicks. And if you're able to defend those and check them, it's all you. Jalen Turner can go to the body, can go to the head. He can mix up the grappling even if he wants to. Get some wrestling here. He got submitted by Bahamundes, so I would probably avoid that. I think this is Turner's fight to lose, but at the same time, like, where is his mental state? You always wonder with Jalen Turner. So for me, I am going to be passing, rooting for the California boy and Jalen Turner to get the W this weekend. Co-main event, we have Mackenzie Dern going up against Jillian Robertson. Mackenzie Dern putting her strap on the line against another, we'll call her a wrestler grappler in Jillian Robertson. She doesn't really throw too much in the hands, doesn't have power. I think Mackenzie will be the better boxer. Over the years, she's been working with Perillo, and Perillo has really helped improve her boxing, and she's been able to go out there and showcase that she's more than just a jiu-jitsu girl now. Jillian Robertson is really going to be takedown reliant, but at the same time, like, when you're takedown reliant against Mackenzie Dern, who's one of the best female Brazilian jiu-jitsu players in the world right now, you're going to be put in some pretty precarious positions. And I think that Mackenzie Dern could win this fight by submission, or it's going to be a 5-round striking fight where no fighter goes for the grappling and Mackenzie is just leading in the boxing, not too much action, and winning a point fight. I really feel like Mackenzie, this is her fight to lose. I know Jillian is a really aggressive fighter when the fight gets to the mat. I just don't know if she's going to be as aggressive searching for takedowns here going up against a jiu-jitsu player of Mackenzie's caliber. I don't think it would be wise, at least until you get some damage off on the feet, which I don't trust to happen in this case. So give me Mackenzie Dern. Let's check out the chat. Jalen Turner, I think, is going to roll Cowie, in my opinion. Cowie doesn't put much into his kicks. Naked calf kicks get him in big trouble. That is the thing. If Turner is able to time that first kick and land a really solid counter right off the bat, oh man, he's going to make Cowie start thinking before he kicks. Fight doesn't go to distance, +1 is a great spot here. Dern KO +1400 wild price. Yeah, Dern KO would not be surprising to me, but I would probably prefer the submission more than anything, because I do think that Jillian might be shooting sloppy takedowns the longer the fight goes, but good take there. Last but not least, with main event, champion Islam Makhachev going up against Ian Machado Garry. His belt on the line, Islam Makhachev is. And, a lot of people are going to break this down and say Islam Makhachev should be rolling this guy. Easy fight. He's going to take him down and wash him, put him in the washing machine and get his submission or KO away. I just refuse to think that it's that easy. I think this is the hardest matchup for Islam Makhachev in his career. The height of Ian Garry and the length may give him some issues. And Ian Garry is someone who has decent takedown defense. A longer, rangier striker is someone that I can give Makhachev's style a little bit of trouble. Especially if he's able to land accurately in the early going. Ian Garry, if he's able to withstand the takedowns and keep this on the feet, I think this looks like more maybe minus 110 apiece, because I don't really rate Islam's striking all that much. At least, when it comes to the higher weight classes, because he hasn't really been hit by any of these heavier guys. And JDM on the feet he stood no chance because he kept getting taken down. He was just too worried of it. Versus in this fight, I don't think Ian Garry is going to be worried. He has good takedown defense. I'm not going to predict Ian Garry to win. I do still think that Islam Makhachev wins this fight, but don't go ahead and parlay Islam in every single bet here. Be wise, be careful with your money, and just be safe. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Quick 20 minutes. I like to keep it nice and short for these breakdowns. I appreciate you all stopping by. If you can, please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and until next week, I will see you then. Make some money. Let's get 3 sweeps in a row.